Yes.
Hi, Sangeeta. This is Maria from Spark.
Hi, Maria.
And I have Siddhi with me, my colleague, who is part of the group campaign, and she's based out of Ahmedabad.
Okay.
And I'm based in Mumbai. So we have our head office at Mumbai.
Okay.
And just to give you a little brief about Spark,
Yeah.
Spark was founded by Sheila Patel, who is the founder director of Spark. Basically work with slum dwellers, the urban poor communities, and our focus area
Maria,
has always
I'm sorry I'm interrupting. There's some background noise at the back. Yeah.
hello.
Yes. Yes, Maria.
Now is it better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So Spark's main focus area of work has always been housing and sanitation,
Yeah.
along with relocation and rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And we work in 4 to 5 states in India. And we have two grassroots level organizations, the National Slum Dwellers Federation and Mahila Milan, with whom we work as an alliance.
Yeah.
So, part of housing and water and sanitation, we construct houses for the urban poor and community toilets also for the urban poor. And we also give out loans for individual toilets and for upgrading,
Yeah.
upgrading their houses. Um, you know, Either if they want to renovate their house or extend another room or do any kind of retrofitting that they need. But that amount is limited, and we also have a period within which they have to repay the loans. And then we have another set of core activities that was started by Spark and now are taken over by the Federation and the Mylam. So some of those activities include savings and credit. Now the savings are done on a daily basis, and then we also have surveys and enumerations, which are also done at different levels and for different purposes. And then we have exchanges where, again, it's done between communities, between slums, between cities, at national level, at regional, and at international level. So whatever projects or works are taken up by one city is shared through these experiences. So not only the successes, but the challenges are also shared through these exchange programs. So they learn from one another. And very often we have, other organizations and government officials also partaking in these exchange programs. And then, of course, we have our precedent setting programs where we try to do some policy related changes. So for example, like in Mumbai, the pavement dwellers were never included uh, in any of the housing programs of the government. Uh, but the kind of work that Spark has been doing with the pavement dwellers, after 20 years, we were able to incorporate them as part of the housing policy where they are entitled to a free housing. Similarly, we've been able to bring about policy changes with regards to water and sanitation, where the communities are involved in designing their own community toilets. They are involved in the construction of their toilets and also maintaining their own community toilets alongside. Um, So this was a little brief about Spark. And if we come to RU, so RU is Roof Over Our Heads campaign, which is one of the five things that came out from What Women Want. And the other four components are health, transport, and green in our meals. The Roof Over Our Heads campaign took off very easily because it is very much connected to the work that we've been doing on housing and the kind of loans that we've been providing to households to upgrade their houses. And so we will tell you a little more about it. We've done 9 labs in 9 different cities, and these cities were chosen based on the climatic conditions of being in different climatic zones. So where there are extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme wind, and a combination of either of these. So, uh, so I hand over it to Siddhi to explain a little more about how we've done the labs and what were some of the findings from the lab, which was the phase 1 of our campaign. And in phase 2, we are looking at different alternative materials that people will be using. And so here also comes in the loan component, which we are trying to look out for different financial institutions that can support us in identifying the different loan components through which these communities can be supported. So I hand over to Siddhi to explain a little more about this process.
Hi, Sangeeta. So I am the technical analyst to the RU campaign, and Nihar leads the campaign. So basically, as already Maria mentioned, in the phase 1 of the campaign, we did selected 9 cities. We call it labs because it was exploratory, and the cities were all selected based on the federation leaders and the women's group that we have already there working with the communities for savings and other initiatives. So the 9 cities were in 5 states, that is Maharashtra, Karnataka, Sikkim, Odisha, and Gujarat.
Okay.
So these in these 5 states were based on the climate zones that are there in India. We selected these five, and then in these five there were 17 different informal settlements that we selected to do our documentation and analysis. So these 17 settlements had different challenges with respect to different climate hazards and different types of temperature and flooding and other issues. So we have tried to break each informal settlements, and then we also did a household survey. So in these 17 settlements, we did 70 household surveys, and we got to know what kind of materials these people use as construction materials in their regular usages, and what is the kind of challenges that they face by using those materials, where do they procure that material from, what are the kind of operational and maintenance costs that they incur throughout, then how do they execute in constructing or upgrading their houses. So all these things we tried to document, and then we've broken each house in 4 components. I would
Mhm.
like to show that to you.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so we've broken down each house in 4 different components, that is roof, wall, structure, and floor.
Mm.
And whatever the materials we've got to know from the dwellers that they use in their houses, we've tried to identify what is their thermal conductivity, the shelf life, durability, maintenance, as I mentioned, procurement, and even we did a supply side survey to understand if they procure it in second hand or if they procure it as new material, what is the difference in the costs?
Mm-hmm.
And also, what are the financial mechanism the house owners incur? Like, since they've constructed this house in 2012, till date they have they have self-financed their house.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody did take loans or they borrowed money. So there were different kinds of answers we got to these questions. So
Mm-hmm.
in the phase two of the campaign, now that we've documented all the houses, what we are doing in the phase two is we're trying to approach each and every homeowner with two different approaches. One is that we will provide you with an provide you with a material which will enhance your existing material in a manner that the life of the existing material increases to some more years.
Okay.
So it's like an immediate solution to the existing scenario.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
the other approach is like introducing an alternative material which will be affordable to them.
Okay.
So these are the two approaches that we are trying to do it in the phase two of the campaign. We've already started conducting our workshops and training for trainers program because we want that even if we if we build a pilot house in any of these settlements, we also want to train the local artisans and the contractors and the skilled laborers within that settlement so that in future they can self build their own houses.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the approach. And so Sadhan, actually, we came across Sadhan by so Jagdanda ji from CYSD
Yeah.
told us about Sadhan, that in the Kacha to Pakka campaign that he started some years back, where Sadhan contributed and helped with the cash flow of the whole thing. So that's where we got to know about Sadhan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as also Sadhan has a repository of different MFIs, like so we also wanted to know that if there are some microfinance institutions which we can collaborate with and they can help us to build this financial model that we are looking to.
Yeah. Okay.
So just to give you a rough idea about the kind of the kind of income groups that we are catering to, the income groups are like from they are like domestic workers, fishermen community, waste pickers, then painters, skilled laborers, so such kind of occupation, and then family income, like monthly family income range from 1,000 to 50,000 rupees.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this.
so
Yeah.
just to give you an idea
Yeah.
about it.
So I'll give you a brief about what Sadhan did. Actually, Sadhan is an association of 220 plus members, microfinance and stakeholders. So 150 microfinance institutions now across all legal status. So immediately I can connect you with 2, 3 NBFC MFIs and also the bigger players who are section 8 companies, societies, NGOs, all those kind of members are there. So they can be of 10 crores book size to 10,000 crore book size. It is that range that we work with. Now, you must have experienced that, and everybody requires a roof over their head. So, with that conviction, we actually started that endeavor in Sadhan, especially when this funny happened in Orissa, you know. And he was Jagdananda sir was very much affected, and he was at the front leading that kind of. He arranged a lot of workshops, what to do, how to utilize the money coming in, And we also we're trying to kind of estimate how much would it be required, because it was a 3 lakh houses were destroyed, and to rebuild those houses into even very small basic, very basic structure also would have required kind of uh, at least 1.5 lakhs for basic structures. Up to 3 lakhs we had kind of estimated, and it would have gone to 10,000 crore plus budget only to build those 3 lakh houses in only Orissa, which means that the if you take into account the relief fund, that the Prime Minister relief fund, it is only 10,000 crores. They cannot give all the money to Orissa only, right? Especially when all the other states also were affected. Kerala happened the subsequent year, then Kerala happened twice during this time, Tamil Nadu happened, Maharashtra, Assam always happening. So so that is why we started doing this. And as you have really rightly pointed out, that the cash flow is one of the reason. uh, Many of them are doing, and actually MFI is what they do. MFIs, they have they actually extend the money. Suppose they give a 50,000 loan, then what happens, a part of this money goes to repair or something of the house repair kind of thing. New is a little bit of it gets spent in this repair and renovation work in the house, but nobody records it as a housing kind of thing. No, so when you don't record it as a housing thing, then you cannot justify the requirement over a long run. So that is where we were coming in, that as it is, there is a requirement. People do spend this money. Even today people take money and repair their houses. Everybody knows, but nobody records. And since this was not recorded, so when we started, at least the MFIs had started recording money, the loan amount into housing repair and restructuring kind of thing. Now, if you know about Jaga Mission in Orissa, um, it was a slum settlement policy which was very new and very innovative. The slum dwellers who are into that slum for now 20 years, say, just because you give a loan, they are not going to disappear from that state, that wherever they are living, no? But this was a natural conclusion that we make. There is no evidence that they will, and there is no guarantee that they will not go. But the way we live, like the job holders and who are going from town to town, every now and then we are switching job. The slum dwellers' life are not like that. Their livelihood is around that slum only. So we try to build this logic into Jaga Mission also, and succeeded to some extent, because the certificate, the what they call, the ownership certificate,
LRCs.
LRCs, yes. The LRCs were not bankable, because the house cannot be transferred, not it cannot be sold. So these are the kind of, but when you go by common sense, it is obvious that those people are not going to go there, and the house they are building, it is just one time, once in lifetime. Every house, whether you build that house, I build that house, any house is just once in a lifetime. You don't go on building multiple houses, no, in a lifetime. So can we not, if the MFIs have given loans, say 7 cycle, each cycle consisting of 2 years, then for 14 years they have been extending these loans to these particular borrower. Now they can extend a once in a lifetime loan. So suppose every loan is kind of 20,000 approx on an average. Then over these 7 cycles, they have already given one more than 1 lakh, to that person. So why not give a once in a lifetime loan? So these are the logic that we have tried to build in. So everybody, when we approached to National Housing Bank and HB, they were saying, uh, you were just saying like that. There are other dynamics also coming. They had an experience that the smaller MFIs, the smaller ticket size, those are the worst kind of loans. But what data they had of this? Banks do not have a ticket size less than 2 lakhs in housing. It is only the microfinance thing. So they didn't have this data. The bank who have taken loan of 2 lakh rupees, they call it as a small size loan. And they had the bank data, and that is why they were saying the small ticket size. So they could not establish any wrongdoing with microfinance. I also argued with them, saying that if microfinance will face, say, more than 10% of loss every year, they will disappear. Their business will not run. So all these kind of arguments are just logic, common sense. Those need to be established. Still, so that is where I see the policy advocacy part that we can do. But for that to happen, as you were saying, you are doing already some pilots, some experiments, or already you have done. So I'll connect you with 2 or 3 microfinance institutions who have done, like in Pune and in slums in Maharashtra. One organization is doing already, so they will be very happy to be with you. Maybe you already know them. I don't know. So that is one. And as you were speaking about the material, another one in Chennai also is there who is working very closely. So when you say fund flow, that is the problem. The bigger MFIs, so for that fund flow, there is no specific money that comes to these MFIs which are coming for housing purpose, because they are not coming from NHB. Banks do not lend money for housing purposes. So they bring in money for income generation purposes only. So there will not be any, say, any segregated money for housing. So what we need to do is, somehow we need to integrate all our ideas all into this income generation activity, and then can take it forward when it comes to the bigger players who can give these loans. So the first of all, you need to be very convinced about the 3 lakh rupees housing. It has to be
Yeah,
a
because
basic structure. Yes.
our ticketing size is that what we are looking for is from 2 to 3 lakhs per household,
Okay.
because there will be what we are planning right now is that in our pilots that we will be proposing with these 2 approaches that I mentioned. So we don't want that we only completely fund the homeowners with everything. We
Hmm.
also want them to contribute to the process in some amount, some percentage of it, like it happens with Swachh Bharat Abhiyan में जो toilets बनते हैं उसमें भी they contribute some amount of it. So we also want that they should have a sense of ownership of what we are giving them. So for that, we want some. We are looking for some models where MFIs can help us, because most of the settlements that we've selected in Bhubaneswar and in Paradip, all those settlements in Bhubaneswar at least are under Jaga Mission. Their LRCs are in place.
Hmm. Okay.
And other places like in Maharashtra and other areas in Bangalore and Gujarat, all of the slums are notified slums, so there is no threat to eviction in the near future.
Okay. So I'll connect you with those MFIs. Maybe we can have another call after I speak to all these MFIs, how this can be helpful. So you can send me the slide that you just show me, that slide plus one, two, three, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be more than one pager, so that everybody understands the basic thing, because nobody will read, only they can see, and then it is interesting enough for them to come to the next call that we make, and then we
Sure.
can take it forward individually, because everybody, you will feel that they have a different agenda why they have come to the call. So that will be the way forward, I think, for the moment, and let us keep on talking every week till we go somewhere, because I know in sadhan, even though we tried hard, we couldn't, because of Russia Ukraine war also, a major fund that was supposed to come to us, that didn't come, so we couldn't pursue much more in our endeavor. So you can I know it's very difficult for people, and because we couldn't pursue that project, we couldn't uh, get more on policy advocacy, we couldn't bring more MFIs into doing that. But MFIs have a mechanism which is called non-qualifying asset. Non-qualifying asset is where you can give any size of loan. So I won't name that MFI, but it's a very big MFIs, and they have 25% of their book size as non-qualifying asset. That is what RBI has stipulated, which means these loans will be, they do not follow any rule, which means they do not follow RBI regulations. The loan size, the tenure, anything, they can give it out of their books. So suppose they are provisioning for 2% of their entire book size, a 10,000 crore company, or say 5,000 crore company, they provision for 2%. 2%. So out of 5,000 crores, if you calculate 2%, and out of that, if you take, say, 10%, it comes to only 75,000. That is the failure rate. But they didn't take this risk, It comes to, if you calculate this, the percentages I have given to you, you'll see that it's a negligible. For a 5,000 crore company, what is 75,000? Yeah, but they didn't take this risk, so it is like kind of, I call them as stupidity I can say, but I didn't spend that money, no, so that is why I cannot tell it anybody. But this is the logic. So whatever logics I have given you, it is doable, but nobody has bought that idea, as I told you. But we can start small and we can proceed. That is what I'm hopeful for. So yeah, so you can just propose another meeting next
Sure.
week sometime, so that before that also, you can, if you can send that note, I can tell these people that this is what
Sure.
is interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you,
Maria, do you
Intan.
want to add anything?
Yeah.
No, I think this is wonderful. If we can touch, then I mean, we can also get to know about the other MFIs and what they are doing and how they can support us. So, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for agreeing to be in touch. And we will definitely share with you whatever we have, and uh, we hope that uh, we can collaborate on this
Sure,
together.
sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
entire team. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.